What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song out recently called Don't Forget About Me, the Supernova version, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. Okay, guys, let's talk about the upcoming modern format, the rotation of Chaos Legion out and Conclave Arcana in, with, of course, Rebellion shifting to the older or second set. Now, one thing that I see get talked about a lot is this expectation that Conclave Arcana could be the next Chaos Legion, where it just, because people are expecting a ton of sales on it and the team's going to do marketing, you're going to have it essentially overrun, the amount of packs in circulation for something like Rebellion. And therefore, Rebellion kind of becomes like what Untamed was during the Untamed and Chaos Legion modern format dynamic, right? When it first launched. And so therefore, people who had Rebellion cards, Untamed cards, were kind of sitting at the top. But overall, right, towards the end of that era, and then at the beginning of the new era with Rebellion and Chaos Legion, you had a situation where everybody was just sitting on a ton of Chaos Legion cards. And so therefore, it became very top-heavy. Everybody was playing with pretty much maxed decks. And until the team could come in and provide some liquidity bots to make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more bearable at the lower leagues, it was kind of a nightmare. So I'm thinking to myself, and just thinking out loud here, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not trying to be Papa Bear, but I guess I am trying to be a little Papa Bear. I want to consider all scenarios. What if we get something similar to that, right? As of right now, we've sold, maybe 100,000 or so total packs, right? In fact, I don't have it up here, but you can see 83,000 there, 36,000. So we'll just say like 130,000 packs so far, as compared to Rebellion. And what if, the pre-sale doesn't sell out? Maybe we only get halfway through, which is actually my goal, right? If we 250,000 packs or so. And it's significantly smaller than Rebellion. And all of a sudden, you see a situation in which very scaled down, because Chaos Legion, obviously there was a ton of cards, right? But Chaos Legion compared to Rebellion was a lot versus a little. And what happens if Rebellion compared to Conclave Arcana, especially at the beginning, ends up being a lot versus a little, once again, mirroring that, but just scaled down. So all of a sudden, you have a very top-heavy modern format with Rebellion collections essentially dominating, right? And that could be whether you have Rebellion core cards themselves, right, bought from packs, or Rebellion, Rebellion reward cards, which are available now, right? People are earning them. And while I don't have a maxed Rebellion set, I have a lot of cards that are already maxed for me. And it's just a matter of getting summoners to be able to play them. So in a way, like the meta is going to be simpler and still dominated by Rebellion cards, both core and reward, and of course any promo cards that are obviously very highly powered and meta to the collection, right? So as we move forward, that's actually something that I think could potentially happen. Now, how long will that last for? Will it last for the entire time, the way that we saw Chaos Legion with Rebellion? I don't know, and I'd like to think not, right? Because I think over time, with people buying packs and getting into Conclave Arcana, there will be more Conclave Arcana packs sold and opened over the long term than we saw with Rebellion. But that's not guaranteed, right? And I think I don't know if you want to call this a slower than expected start for the pre-sale, right? It didn't sell out, although I really was not expecting a day one or week one sellout. But, it hasn't sold out. We're sitting at, I don't know, we'll just say like 20% of packs, right? Just kind of taking the little average here. But we'll just say like 20% of packs being sold so far. I don't really know what to expect. I could see it, at least at the very beginning, kind of taking that same shape, where maybe many players, because SPS earnings aren't really that great, if SPS has not done its flywheel action yet, they're not going to go in and buy the packs, right? Because the earnings just don't justify it. So maybe they move over to Wild format, but then even still, will they play in Wild, or will they move over to Survival? Like, where will the energy, and I don't mean that from like an energy of battle, but like just where will the energy of cards, where will the energy of players go if we have a situation like that, right? People are always trying to get the most bang for their buck, the most return for their assets within the game. And while that's not always the case, right, the market is quite efficient in sniffing that out and doing that. So that's just a thought as we move forward with Rebellion and Conclave Arcana as the new modern format that's coming in a little bit more than 2 weeks. And again, I mean, I'm personally excited to see how that goes. And for myself, I know that I will be buying Conclave Arcana packs as we go along, because it is a set that I want to just kind of like throw my earnings back into in a way that I wasn't quite there with Rebellion, because I didn't need it, but I do want to be able to play Modern format in a pretty solid way. And right now I'm looking at it and saying, well, I can play Modern format, and I do have half of like the meta with, or let's call it like a third of the meta available to me with the reward cards. All I need are summoners. So whether I buy Conclave Arcana summoners, or whether I buy Rebellion summoners, or maybe open Conclave Arcana summoners in packs, that is where that my energy needs to go, just so I can jump into Modern format. Now, the big thing, and I'll close out with this, the big thing is going to be, what do those earnings look like? Because we've gotten to a point now where Modern and Wild are kind of paying out the same amount. And if we get into a situation where a lot of folks just decide not to play in Modern, then even if SPS isn't that high, right, it's only at a penny or so right now, but if players at lower levels are starting to earn significant amounts of SPS, that could make it interesting. And then, of course, I'm still very confident in the flywheel going live at some point, right? With capital flowing into the game, even if it doesn't end up happening in a major way for the pre-sale, capital is flowing into this game somewhat regularly. And at some point, we will be buying, right? Because DEC is holding close to peg quite well. But at some point, the team or players will start buying SPS and just burning it for DEC, hopefully in a healthy, sustainable way. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.